Sup guys, it's Real Some Cheesy. We're now only 8 days out. I know we missed that, 9-day mark. Listen, we just got the release date today. I swear I'm not slacking, right? But the release date is the 29th, so very hype. And I don't know other video planned today, right? But I just made the Delilah lore video, so be sure to check that out when that gets uploaded. But I want to talk about Delilah, right? We know she's now going to be one of the main characters, one of the main focuses of this new story mode. So yeah, let's just talk about her. What I'm hyped for. I've been putting her off for a while for that reason. And first thing I obviously know about her, she's Bedman's, little sister. I hope we get more into that relationship. We saw how much Bedman cared for Delilah, and it makes sense, right? Again, they grew up in this dreamlike world, and they only had each other, so you can understand why they loved each other so much. Bedman, on his short life in the real world, right, had a very tragic life where he worked so hard to try to get her out, and then was betrayed in the end by the only person he really trusted, which was Ariel's. And yeah, but in the end, he was able to bring Delilah into the real world thanks to a miracle, so that was really dope to see. But again, we know that she's going to be pissed. Like, it states even in this new article, which I'll be sure to link down below. It's very interesting that she, her only motive is to get revenge for her brother's life. And even if she doesn't like happy chaos, we know that, Baiken says, like, damn, she reminds me of when I was full of rage, right? So I have to see. She also doesn't have, I'm so hyped, dude. She also doesn't have, like, good, common sense or social skills, so she's going to be a little quirky, right? So that'll be really fun to see her talk and everything with people, for sure. But it also states in here, because again, it does give us like a good idea of the story, right? It says, while the incidents in America triggered by Oscar Krut's surrender unfolds, the Special Brigade Commander, Ramlethal Valentines, heads to the outskirts of Illyria after receiving a report on emergency. Great, pretty much what we predicted, right? Like, Ramlethal works for the government, they told her to go deal with something. Makes sense. Great, happy, right? There, she finds a girl who closely resembles Bedman, who once worked with the Universal Will Against Mankind. So, yeah, they find someone that resembles Bedman. Of course, that's Delilah, probably wandering in this new world alone. The thing that it says, while the incidents in America triggered by Oscar's surrender unfolds, Oscar surrendered before the Strive Story mode, right? Like, we saw him, we know within that 3-week period from Zerd to the beginning of Strive Story 1, he surrendered. We don't know if that's the very beginning, like, this could be like a couple days before, right? But I think this means that we're gonna, because also, here's the other thing, right? Anji and Chip knew who Delilah was, right? In the Strive Story mode 1, they said, like, yeah, that's the target of Baiken and Delilah's ire, so this, to me, implies, while yes, we are going to be running alongside in parallel to the events of Story Mode 1, we're also going to begin slightly before it, right? So, we'll have to see on that. We might get an exact date, which is even crazier, right? Because that implies that Faust's change was less than 3 weeks, which we knew about, but again, it'll kind of clear up exactly what was happening those 3 weeks, so be interesting to see all that, of course. But yeah, we also see the snow map, so my kind of guess with the story mode right now in Delilah is Ramlethal gets a report. For some reason, she takes Baiken. We don't really know why Baiken's with her yet. Then all, like, the Phalanx 9, because of course they work for Ramlethal, so it makes sense there. She was probably the one throwing the, like, trees or whatever that we saw, or it was just the bed frame, because we do see an image of the bed frame as well, where it doesn't have Delilah on her, so either that's like running rampant, right? Maybe it was ordered by Bedman to protect her at all costs. Maybe she's controlling it telepathically. We'll have to see for sure, but again, shall be interesting to see what's up with that. And, she brings the Phalanx 9. We don't know why Baiken, and then they probably defeat the bed, take in Delilah, and that's when they learn about her backstory and everything, and then they probably get away on the jellyfish pirate ship. So realistically, all the shots we've seen are probably less than like an hour of the story mode 2. So it's going to be a lot more to explore. So I'm hyped for that. But again, with Delilah in particular, seeing why, because she could be anywhere. So with her being there, but again, see what she's like. We know that she's awake, so that's really interesting. We do know that she still has the bed, so does she get on the bed? Does she still use the bed? Like, what's up with the bed, of course? See how... I really think they give a good reason for Baiken being there, right? Because, again, it makes sense why... I would have liked a better way to connect Baiken. I really hope they do give a good reason, because it will be exciting to finally see again what Delilah's confessed to Baiken, see that relationship, why she took her into her care, why they didn't just throw her in jail. Maybe they felt pity because again they know how much of a threat Bedman was, and I'm assuming that she's pretty strong too. And speaking of strong, let's talk about the 8th generation reinforced high density bed frame, right? So that was the bed frame that Bedman had, and my guess is that she probably has a lesser generation. I was thinking maybe at some point that she'd have like maybe the 9th generation that was perfect, right? Because it was saying the 8th generation was almost perfect. So interesting, but seeing how broken and damaged it was, and we know that the reason that there were multiple generations is to handle the stress of Bedman's battles better and his power. So seeing how broken this one is, it makes sense that it's probably like the 7th or some generation, right? And we do know it's different for Bedman's bed because the crown's different, so that's a cute little detail, along with like Delilah's arrow pointing up. That's one of the things I felt like had to happen, right? Like Bedman had the arrow pointing down, she had the arrow pointing up. It was too cute not to have, right? Like, come on. Oh goodness, but yeah, so again, I'm just so excited to learn about her, man. And with her having a similar condition now being awake, I'm wondering exactly how that happened, right? We know Bedman performed a miracle, so is her... I'm assuming her intellect isn't, like, lowered. Is it just, like, there's no repercussions? I mean, that'd be fine, right? Like, Bedman's dead, he performed a miracle, but see how that affects her in the waking world? Does she have to sleep a lot? Like, we see she's very tired, which doesn't make a lot of sense, and she's slept all her life. Man, I don't know, maybe she gets tired fast or something right there. But of course, shall be interesting to see. She never got to meet her mother, and of course, she's never felt... One of the things that Bedman says is that she's never felt the warm embrace of another human being. So I wonder if, with that conversation, and then Baiken seeming very motherly, right? I wonder if she's going to see Baiken more as a mother, more as a comrade. Like the song, Mirror of the World, a lot of people think a comrade refers to Anju, which would make sense, but it might also refer to Delilah. One interesting too to note, which I brought up in the Baiken video too, is Delilah probably made Baiken's new sword that she calls Regret. So why did Delilah make that if she did? I'm really hoping Delilah is the one, because it is a brand new sword. We know that it can like affect you, basically make you see stuff like a dream, right? So I hope Delilah make that, know why she made that, know the full extent of Delilah's power, because either, right, we know that she's not the same as Bedman. There's either she's smarter, like she had, like her condition was worse, like she was so much smarter that Aerials and Bedman couldn't get her out, right? So that'd be definitely an interesting take. Or she's like not as smart. I'm not gonna say dumb, because she's still one of the smartest characters probably in the entire series, right? But again, finding out exactly why she couldn't wake up, but Bedman could. It wouldn't surprise me too if she's a demi-human, right? Like it seems that the way they got Bedman out was Aerials went into his dream. Like they probably just found like this kid sleeping. They probably vaguely knew about the condition. Because she was like the Pope of the world. So maybe like, you gotta heal these poor children. But went into the dream, like recruited Bedman, helped him get out. Maybe she either helped him delete his ID or, taught him about that, right? Somehow he deleted his universal ID, became a multi-dimensional being, and was able to, be alive in the waking world. Well, be alive and not like awake in the waking world, right? So, and it was why he was screwed to the bed, of course. And she actually has screws too, as we can see. And my guess on this, and which I really hope they do clear up and explain, is that because Bedman woke up that way, it implies that maybe they did, it implies that they did try to wake her up, right? Because, like, we knew that Aerials has met Delilah. We knew that the Universal Will has met Delilah. Like, she says, like, oh yeah, Bedman, your smile reminds me of your sister's, like, one that doesn't have a care in the world. So, I doubt Bedman would go through all the trouble if there's a simpler way to wake up Delilah, right? But, since... Why couldn't they pull her out is basically what I'm getting at, right? And because we know that they couldn't pull her out, it makes sense that the first thing that they did try is the exact same thing with Bedman, where they screw her to a bed and try to wake her up, or try to make her so that she can sleep in the waking world, but for some reason that didn't work. So again, I'd like some clarity on that, more explanations on that, right? As well as how she figured out that Happy Chaos is the true culprit behind all of this, because again, she's very smart, but it didn't seem like Bedman knew that Happy Chaos was inside of her, right? Which is why I'm also thinking Delilah might be smarter than Bedman, which would be awesome to see, and I'm super excited for. But given that she, and it's probably gonna be figured out and explained in the story, right? But given that she is blaming Happy Chaos, who's ultimately like the puppeteer of this, right? Because we know that Happy Chaos was ripped. Well, okay, I'm gonna do a video on this probably tomorrow because shit's really interesting too. But there's this article and they basically explain that, you know, Happy Chaos took half of Ino's emotions and kind of threw him into the backyard, and as well as he took half her power, and just threw him in the backyard just for the backyard to govern. But then Ariel's, they had a like falling out, like a difference in ideas, and he tried to stop her. But then she pushed like those desires and power into Happy Chaos, so then he wandered the backyard and it created state forever. And then Ariel's she started fighting like Soul in the gang, but she realized that she couldn't beat him if she didn't understand humanity. So then she put Happy Chaos into herself, and that's when she became like insane. And that's probably like near the beginning of Zerd, right? Or like beginning when I shouldn't say, it's probably whenever she like became, like a person and like actually started affecting people really, because it was probably like her just affecting people from the backyard, but again, she wanted to understand humanity and how best to take them out, right? So, but again, how did Delilah know this? Did she actually sense Happy Chaos inside of her? Because at the end of the day, while yes, Ariel's is to blame, like she still did those things, when we see Ariel's go into Happy Chaos's dream in the story mode, she acts as if, she's almost regretting the actions that she did. How, she's like, the poison left me when you did, now I see like kind of the arrow my way. And she might have realized like, damn, like if Happy Chaos was never inside Ariel's, she would have never forced him to do this. And because it was, I would have to imagine she was also mad at Venom and Robokai, right? Because those are the people who actually killed her brother. So like, I don't know, she's probably pissed at them too, probably. But again, maybe she's not, maybe she's just realized like Happy Chaos is the puppeteer behind this all. But anyways, again, since Happy Chaos was the poison in her that left and like kind of is the root of the problem, right? It would explain why she's pissed at him. And also just goes again to show her like Giga Brain, where she's like, I'm not going to target like the lowly, I guess, scum, right, who killed him, not the literal people, Robokai Venom, not the person that he trusted and betrayed him, like Ariel's. No, the person who was controlling Ariel's and caused this whole event to happen, Happy Chaos, the original. So, well, I guess she would probably only know him as that man by that time. But again, I would love to see her kind of discover that, put all the pieces together for herself. And yeah, man, see why Faust is there too, because maybe she is still having issues, right? Like maybe she is still struggling to, I don't know, stay awake, or maybe the intellect is like hurting her in some way, but maybe Faust can help her with that. Maybe Faust can give us a bit more information on the condition that she has, because we still don't fully know what it is, right? It's literally just like, oh, they were born too smart. Okay. He was born too smart that they have to talk their dreams, but maybe it can be cured, maybe it's a condition. And why did they have this condition, That's another thing, like, are we ever gonna meet their parents? Ooh, excuse me. The only real guess I have right now, which a few people made the speculation, because now we get to see Delilah's eyes. Oh my god, I'm dying, dude, I'm talking too fast. Ooh. Now we've seen Delilah's eye, we've seen Bedman's eyes, we've seen Happy Chaos eyes. And to be fair, there are a lot of characters who share this like similar brown color, but they do all have similar coloring eyes. And the reason that that's important is because Chip and Anji, again, because after they said like he's the target of Baiken and Delilah's eye, or so they've met Delilah, right? They look into Happy Chaos's eyes and they're both like those eyes. So, and people have already made the connection that maybe Chaos is like a long lost, like maybe like a long grandfather or something, right? But maybe with him like returning, or maybe more specifically actually, when Ariel's put Happy Chaos inside of her, that sounds wrong. That don't take that out of context. When Ariel's put the original inside of her to understand humanity, because this isn't going to sound right either way. But again, when that happened, maybe that's what for some reason triggered. Maybe they were born at like the same time, or like ish around that time, and maybe that's what triggered them to go into the dream world, right? Because Bedman never states that. In Zerd, he doesn't state that both he and her never met their mother. He only states that she never met her mother, so it could have just been more sympathetic, of course, towards her, but it might also be like, no, at one point I was awake, I was normal, but then this just happened to us one day, right? So I definitely, that'd be interesting for sure, and that'd be a good way to connect the pieces. But if they were like a long lost relative, it'd also be ironic, of course, that she wants to kill someone like blood related to her, which, you know, would be interesting to see how she goes about. So again, we'll have to see on that front. What else, man? There's just so much to talk about, right? Because I do want to see the Baiken relationship, the sword, Faust, Happy Chaos. I wonder if we will see Happy Chaos at all in this mode. That would be interesting. Yeah, man, that's pretty much it. I don't know, man. I'm just so happy we got to see more of Delilah. You know, I'm excited to see again her little quirky personality, since she doesn't have a full understanding of like common sense, you know, and you know, normal behavior, right? That's definitely gonna make her really fun to see, talk around, be around, give her a unique personality, definitely get her into some mischief, as well as, again, we got a confirmation that she's only hell-bent on finding the person who killed her. So it would make sense, right, if we get like a similar thing to like Ram and Elf, well, not Elf, but more Ram, where they like introduce her to humanity, but instead of like, again, sin in the elf out way, where it's like happiness, maybe it's Baiken just giving her a purpose and trying to help her find a purpose in life. But yeah, like I said, we're now only 8 days out. Very hyped. Still got a lot of special stuff planned for her. I am beyond hyped for Delilah. Like, I've been hyped for her for a while. Like I said, I've been putting this off, hoping for something like a trailer or something like this to drop. But yeah, love you a lot for always keeping up with these. Take care and have a good night.